In this 6-part video series, Future Music Magazine is teaming up with Steinberg to explore creative sampling and instrument creation.
Throughout these episodes, we're going to use Steinberg's powerful synth sampler hybrid instrument, HALion 6, to walk you through the full spectrum of synthesis, sampling and sound design techniques.
Unlike other samplers, HALion 6 gives you the tools to create new instruments that can be distributed free of charge and used in HALion Sonic SE.
So we'll dig deep into HALion 6 and show you how you can customize your own instrument entirely from scratch, including interface components such as buttons, sliders, that kind of thing. In each video, we'll create our own instrument and then we'll give it to you to download for free. But if you don't own HALion 6, don't worry, because you can use HALion Sonic SE, which is free from the Steinberg website.
Hi, Sai here from MusicRadar, and today I'm joined by Joe Rossitter, Computer Music Magazine editor, and today we're looking at HALion 6.
We are.
In this first episode, we're going to go basically back to basics, aren't we? We're going to strip it all back, see how this thing works.
Yeah.
Build up from scratch and...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's as you can see here, it's a big, complicated piece of kit, piece of software.
Yeah.
Just to sort of explain what it is. A synthesizer will output synthetic waveforms, and you'll then use that as the basis of your instrument, whereas a sampler uses audio files as the oscillator, whereas HALion can kind of do all of that. It's got various different modules. It can do sampling, it can do synthesis, various different types of synthesis, and you can mix and match them all together. So yeah, I think it's important that we go back to basics, really. It is quite complicated because it can do so much. It's very deep. So I think it's going to be quite useful to just break down the initial preset that loads up this hexagon preset. So just to give you a sort of a quick taster of what it can do. So up here, where I am now, this is the program tree, and this is the sort of architecture. This is your signal flow. This is where you load your various modules and stack them up. So if you have a look here, if I click the triangle, this is the entire program. Yeah. And I unfold the tree here, and then you can see what it's made up of. So initially here we've got these two. If I have a look, go into the main window here, you can see. So this is these are MIDI processors. The MIDI comes into the MIDI modules, and they process the note data before they actually hit the sound generators. Okay. So so we've got two loaded here. Now, if I unfold this first layer, this anima layer, you can see that's got its own MIDI modules. Okay. Then it's got this zone here. So zones are your sound generators, and I'll just show you here. So you've got these to choose from. So you can have a synth zone, which is basic subtractive synthesis. Yeah. You've got sample zone, which is your sampler, granular synthesis, organ zone, so that's your sort of organ sounds, drawbar organ sounds, and then the new wavetable zone, which we'll obviously look at some point later, which is fantastic. So yeah, we've got these are all the sound generators here. So we've got the MIDI modules coming down to that. Then we've got our bus. So this bus inside this packaged up in this layer, you can see we've got a bunch of effects loaded. So this is where you add the processing, individual modules. You've got aux buses as well, which is really cool. And then I can unfold this next layer, and this has got its own set of modules loaded too. So this is the sound, but obviously if I mute this first layer here, if I mute that, you can hear these other two layers. Yeah. You can solo them, so that's the...
And at the end of the signal chain, you've got the program bus for the whole...
Yeah, that's the main output, So then we've got all these effects loaded, and that's the sort of all the different layers coming together at the end. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of... this is where you'll build up your layers. Yeah. These sort of little sections here, you can package them up, and... that's process them all sort of in parallel and then bring them all together at the end.
Okay, so that's your main preset, hexagon, in a nutshell. Let's have a look at building one from scratch. So you can trash this one, and should we build something from scratch? And
we can indeed. So down here, I've got hexagon selected. I'll just hit delete. get rid of that. And then I'll drag this up into the slot rack. Now this is where you stack up your programs. You can have multiple programs at once. So yeah, let's just load in a sample, I think would be a good idea. So you've got the media bay, which is mainly for presets it comes with. But if I go to my desktop, audio file here, I've got a few sounds. That'll do. I'll double click that, load it in. You can see in here the sample's loaded. There's the sample there. Obviously play it up and down the keyboard. And then I go into the zone tab. Now this is where I can edit the sort of zone parameters. And then, as I explained earlier, these are the different zones. You can switch between them if you like, which is quite useful to be able to do that. But I'll stick with the sample module here. Now as you scroll down, you've got all these various sections, but it can get a bit confusing. So if you click,
so you can
click
collapse
them all and unfold the ones you want, just to sort of keep on top of it, really. So you can set your sort of pitch and how you want it to be set up in there. There's sort of sample oscillators section, but here's the audio warp slot, which I really like. Sort of a time stretch algorithm, which is really cool. So it's quite good if you want to just throw in any old sample and you don't know what to do with it. You're sort of doing some sound design or want to make something a bit weird. It's really good.
Just experimentation.
Yeah, you've got these two different modes, solo and music. You can sync it to host tempo as well if you're working in a DAW. So yeah, that's really fun to play with, actually. Let's put this back to take that off. It's really cool. You can change the format as well. There are these 8 quick controls at the bottom. If you're familiar with macros in synthesizers, empty sort of macros that you can assign parameters to. And I really like to sort of whiz around and just hook things up, and then you've got them all at the bottom to hand.
So your favourite parameters from whichever,
So
sections,
so if I right click, say this speed knob, right click, assign quick control 1, it's down here. So there. I'll assign this format as well.
Of course, you're putting one on each separate quick control, but you can assign multiple parameters to one macro knob, can't you?
You can assign multiple parameters to one knob. You can set the ranges, so you can really sort of hone in on sweet spots and things like that. I think we were talking about the buses earlier in the processing. I quite like the reverbs here in HALion 6. They sound really good. So I'm just going to throw a reverb in. So from that initial sort of...
Already, and we've not really we've barely scratched the surface, and already you've got some, something completely brand new.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
Then you've got a filter section, which is pretty cool because you've got all these different types of filters, which some have distortion in, some are sort of more bit reduction, that kind of thing. So again, it's quite useful if you've got a sound and you don't really know what you want to do, but you just want to try out some. I think it needs a bit of grit, or it needs to just be a bit more overdriven. It's quite quick to just do this. Yeah, and then you've got your amplify section. You've got envelopes. You've got your amp filter pitch and a user envelope that you can assign to various things. You've got 2 LFOs. You've got this sort of step mod section, like a step sequencer, so you can draw in rhythmic patterns, set the tempo, and then down here this is your mod matrix. So you've got 32 slots there. So and then you just assign things in the usual ways. You're familiar with synthesis or sampling, you'll sort of be quite at home, really. So and then as I mentioned earlier, you've got these MIDI modules, which I really like. So there's this flex phraser, which is sort of a posh arpeggiator, which is cool. So yeah, it's quite a lot you can do.
Yeah.
So again, more quick controls because they're always good fun. So I'm just hooking all these up down here.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I do gate? I think I did. And then that one. There we go. So I've got 6 assigned. Like I said, the good thing about the quick controls is, you know, it's a very complicated synth. You're sort of whizzing around all over the place into the different pages. But you know, no matter where you head into, you've always got these down here.
Yeah. So already, like we were saying, barely scratched the surface. We've got 6 macros assigned. We can just quickly like tweak, make the sounds our own.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it didn't take long to do that.
No, not at all.
this is just the sampler, so
Yeah.
we haven't even moved onto any synthesis yet.
So another part of HALion 6, which is brand new, is the macro page designer.
It is indeed.
And talk us about that. What is that?
Well,
nutshell.
it's one of the big new features in HALion 6 that it sort of took me a while to get into, really. But now I've dived in and got the hang of it. It's really good fun. So obviously this is a giant interface. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But so let me just open up the macro page designer. It's essentially build your own instrument, design your own synth sampler.
Oh, great. So you don't need to
Anything you want, really.
any sort of background in coding. You don't need to
Not
have
at
an
all, no.
SDK to create your own. It's all there.
Yeah, it's all within HALion 6. Need to make sure I've got this selected, and I'll create a new HALion Sonic macro page. Now, the reason I'm doing a HALion Sonic macro page is because what you can do is you create your preset in HALion 6,
Yeah.
and then you boil it all down to a smaller, more compact version. I mean, it's exactly the same, but it's just got a smaller interface.
Yeah.
And that can then be opened in HALion Sonic SE, which is the free version, that you
so
can download.
you
So anyone can download
Yeah.
it, VST, AU, all that stuff, and you open it in any DAW. And you can share your instruments, you can distribute them, and you can. I'll quickly show you. So I've got a folder here. Got a bunch of these sort of mini. I've set them all to the right dimensions for a HALion Sonic SE.
Okay, so 595 by
patch, which
390 is
pixels. Yeah. So let me just throw one in. So I put this on the canvas. I mean, like, you know, anyone familiar with photo editing software and that kind of stuff,
It all looks familiar to them. Yeah.
it does. So yeah. So this is your sort of background. I mentioned the program tree earlier. So this GUI tree up here on the top left, this is kind of the same thing, but for the visual components. So, and then down here, you've got all your you get access to all the preset sliders, knobs, switches, buttons, just interface components, basically.
So there's plenty of design options available to you.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to know them and kind of exploring and finding out what you'd like and what suits
Yeah,
your
exactly.
instrument.
Yeah, so you can, let me just quickly jump in and find, there's lots of different types of knobs and switches.
Yeah. So in this instance, we're going to build an instrument based on the 6 macros that you've
Yeah, I think
assigned.
that might be a good idea. It's just a very quick, see now I've dragged that knob onto the interface, but you can't see it, and that's because
It's behind the background.
there we go.
Okay,
So it's, again, it works top to
layer
bottom.
convention, yeah.
Yeah, so let me, anyway, well, let's assign the first macro. So I've got the little page down here. This is your sort of preview page where you can sort of test it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Don't actually like that knob. I'm going to try a different one. Doesn't look quite right.
Better design.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of trial and error. I mean, I'm not a graphic designer myself personally, so I'm still sort of learning and working out the best sort of how things should look. But even after sort of designing these basic backgrounds, I think I can sort of imagine how you can take things further. Really,
you're already thinking about workflow and how you want it to be used by someone who's never used it before, and
So
Axel Hartman's out there, budding synth designers, and they'll be loving this.
Yeah, if you've got a friend who's good at graphic design, that's the chance to give them a call. There are two ways you can assign parameters from your original patch onto your macro page. So you've got this parameters list. I can take this. Here are the quick controls here.
Okay.
So I can just drag that on, and I can see here that's been assigned.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So you can do that, and then what I can do is, I can either drag more out or I can copy and paste. This is a very quick demonstration, so it's not going to be very neat, but
we get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all over the place, but and then so just to be quick, I'm just going to drag these on. So we've got quick control 2, control 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so that's our 6 quick controls. Like I said, we can tidy it up later, but I think it's quite good to just throw things in there. And so what I can do now in here, add a label to each one.
Oh, cool.
You can add, you can type your own tooltips as well. So then when you hover the mouse over, it comes up with a little message, which is good. What else have we got? Okay, so there we go. It's as I said, we can tidy it up. Oh, oops. See, I keep doing that. I always try and move the knob in there, but you've got to do it here in the preview section. So even just the act of sort of throwing some knobs onto an interface and just having it play, you're not looking at what's going on. You can just come up with.
You're focusing on those 6 parameters that you've chosen. Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't think I'd want to distribute this in its current state.
Why not? It's great.
but obviously, with a bit of tidying up, and there's a lot more interface.
Yeah.
You can add buttons. You can group sections together and have them turn on and off with triggers. Something else we'll do later as well with the wavetable oscillator. You can add in the sort of the graphic element of that, so you can see the wavetable moving around, which is
wicked.
Cool. So there's a lot of
options available.
Yeah, a lot to explore.
Yeah. So it's our aim, isn't it? With these 6 episodes, our aim is to create one designed instrument per episode.
Yeah.
That gives the viewers some extra little insight into HALion 6 and bit of feedback and something for them to play with. So
I think it
won't look like that though.
No, it won't look like that. Hopefully, with a bit of tidying. Of tidying. I think we can package up a few instruments and make something quite cool. Which is just it's not just making a boring sampler patch that just looks quite utilitarian. You can actually customize it and distribute it.
Great.
So yeah.
I look forward to that. Till the next time.
So that's it for this video. You can download this instrument from the URL below. And don't worry if you don't own HALion 6, as you can download the free HALion Sonic SE from Steinberg's website. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe wherever you're watching this video.
In the next video, we'll go more in depth with sampling at HALion 6 to show you how you can transform everyday sounds into something musical and creative.